Top 11 Surprising Secrets About Gold Rush. Hello there, YouTube. When it comes to reality television, there are just a few shows out there that can legitimately claim to be viewer draws. No, I don't mean Jersey Shore or anything the Kardashians are up to nowadays. Ugh. However, what I do mean are some of the shows on the Discovery Channel. One of the biggest is Gold Rush, which features a group of inexperienced miners trying to dig out enough gold to earn a living in harsh environments. So sit back and relax as we dig up some dirt with the top 11 surprising secrets about Gold Rush. However, before we start this video, let me just tell you, dear viewer, you have struck gold by finding our channel. Why don't you subscribe to get even more gold in the form of our videos? We'd appreciate it immensely. With that said, let's begin, shall we? Number 11. The Dark Side and Tragic Death of James Harness. Regular viewers of Gold Rush, and to a much lesser extent casual ones, might remember James Harness. He was a regular on the show for 2 years until he was unceremoniously let go for failing to achieve the 100-ounce goal set by the team. In his short time on the show, it was painfully obvious that he was living in constant pain, and he was never hesitant to talk about it. Years before joining the crew, Harness was involved in a severe car accident, which left him suffering from chronic pain. Now, to cope with this, he of course did take pain medication. It's kind of needed if you're in that kind of pain. This eventually led to his addiction. In the show, his dependence on painkillers was one of the sources of his problems and may have contributed to his eventual departure. After he did leave the show, his addiction worsened, unfortunately, and he finally succumbed to a stroke in 2014. May you rest in peace, sir. Number 10. The show was heavily edited to depict good and evil. Now we all know that the world is comprised of good people and bad people. Yes, conflicts do happen, but for most parts, people are content to try to get along. But that is boring and is definitely not the kind of thing you want to watch on TV or play in video games, etc, etc, etc. However, what we, as the overdramatic population, truly want is some good old-fashioned good guy versus bad guy dynamic. Luckily for us, the producers of the show edited Gold Rush so heavily as to provide viewers with this dynamic. Now I will fully agree that conflicts do make for more compelling TV. Number 9. Poor maintenance equals drama. When you invest an insane amount of money on a venture like gold mining, it's of the utmost importance to make sure your equipment is top-notch and that it works properly. Unfortunately, it seems the show's rather inexperienced crew have let some of their equipment die instead of maintaining it properly, which, as any true miner would tell you, is just reckless and, well, for lack of a better word, stupid. Of course, if an important piece of mining equipment needed to get that last ounce of gold suddenly shuts down, makes for really good television, and it seems that the show's producers intentionally neglect proper maintenance of the equipment to make sure that this happens. Common sense will dictate that this is not a great way to mine for gold, obviously. That or they just really like the idea of the miners working with their bare hands, because they're probably seriously sadistic. Number 8. They are bear killers. Now, when you work out in the wilderness, it shouldn't come as a surprise to you when you encounter some of the local wildlife. Back in May of 2010, one of the resident bear population got a little bit too close to the production area and quickly paid the price. Now, to be fair, bears rarely come in contact with humans. They actually prefer to be left alone. When the rare occasion comes when a bear comes face to face with humans, it's usually because people unintentionally do things to attract bears. Ask any experienced outdoorsman and he will tell you not to leave food somewhere where a bear can get to it. If you do, trust me, they'll get to it. When a bear wandered in close to the site to partake in some graham crackers, the miners got scared and Mike Allister attacked down the bear and shot it. Yeesh, man, calm down, it's just some graham crackers. It's not like you laid a finger on your butterfinger or anything. That's still a thing. Don't lay a finger on my butterfinger? Remember that was popular, I don't know if it still is. Number 7. Todd Hoffman isn't as nice as he seems. Now, while he does look like a big teddy bear and he undoubtedly seems like a nice enough guy on the show, according to quite a few other cast members, Todd Hoffman isn't that nice of a guy. According to some very reliable sources, he has turned away family and friends in pursuit of fame and fortune at the bottom of a gold mine. These former cast members have given interviews where they describe a man who is deeply troubled and an inexperienced miner to boot. In one episode, he can be seen screaming at a fellow miner, which was reportedly not scripted but straight from the heart. Hoffman has also been accused of not caring much about the safety of the people working for him, which isn't something many people would be too happy about. Number 6. If you don't get it on the first shot, try again. Now, most reality television shows film everything for hours on end and just edit out the parts that make for good television. When it comes to Gold Rush, they take a much more relaxed approach to filming and just turn on the cameras whenever they feel they should. This can lead to them missing some of the action, which is never good, especially for a reality show. Now, what do they do if these things happen? Very simple, really. They just feed the lines back to the cast and have them act out the scene as if it's spontaneous. This way, if they miss a line or one is delivered poorly, it's no problem. They simply reshoot the scene and make sure the director gets what he wants. In this manner, Gold Rush is as much as a reality show as, let's say, Game of Thrones. Number 5. Parker Schnabel is actually a rich kid. If you're a regular viewer of Gold Rush, then you'll definitely be familiar with Parker Schnabel. He's that guy who you feel sorry for because he's pretty much shown as living in a perpetual state of poverty on the show. Well, it is true that when he started out in the show, he wasn't in a good way financially, but that has changed since then. According to a report on Fox News back in 2015, Schnabel is filthy rich. His time on Season 5 earned him a whopping $1 million, which is more than the average Joe could make in decades. That shouldn't come as a surprise as he's on a TV show where they dig for gold. The secret nature of his true wealth is what we find really astonishing, though. Despite all of this, though, Schnabel still claims that he is in more debt than anyone else his age, so the world should probably feel sorry for him. That's kinda hard to do given the guy is pulling in 7 figures. Yes, I'm ever so poor. I had to go from the fancy caviar to canned caviar. Oh god, no. Number 4. Inexperience means danger. The appeal of Gold Rush is the fact that it focuses on inexperienced miners trying to make a decent living digging for gold. If you watch the show from the beginning, you should remember Todd Hoffman selling almost all of his possessions to finance his gold mining venture. You'd also know that he surrounded himself with people who he hopefully knew the ins and outs of mining. However, as the first season unfolded, we quickly realized that these guys had the same mining knowledge as someone who's read a dummy's guide to gold mining. Putting people in jobs they know next to nothing about is extraordinarily dangerous. It endangers the lives and well-beings of people around them. They're even a danger to themselves, but it seems that the show's producers want this to add a bit more drama to the proceedings. Now, it is fortunate that there haven't been any fatalities or major injuries on the show, but if they should continue along this line, it will only be a matter of time. Mr. Producer, sir? It seems that one of the miners got decapitated while working on here. Oh my god! Get that on camera, that'll make for good viewing. Number 3. They disrupted salmon habitat. Now, it seems that bears weren't the only animals who had to be sacrificed for the sake of Gold Rush. Salmons were also a victim. Darn you, man! Now, it was reported that the crew drove a 50-ton piece of mining equipment through a salmon habitat, destroying an entire run of salmon and, of course, their habitat. People even vaguely familiar with salmon behavior will know that these fish spawn in the same place that they were born in. It is one of the singularly most amazing unsolved mysteries in the natural world. Since these fish were killed off during their spawning period, not to mention the destruction of their habitat, future generations have instantly been wiped out. Salmon habitats are protected by law, but the show's crew insisted that they were permitted by state laws to drive any machinery across rivers and streams. Now, granted, that was true. However, I bet the government officials were not expecting the destruction of one entire ecosystem. Number 2. The cast is paid very handsomely, to put it lightly. Now, despite what producers want you to believe, the cast's income doesn't solely come from whatever they can dig out of the dirt. Despite being portrayed as always on the verge of bankruptcy, each and every cast member is paid by the production company quite well. They have as mandated by law to be paid for their job on the show, and believe me, they're pretty much well compensated. Some have even estimated that they earn as much as mid to high 6 figures in the show, and these just come from salaries. Add that to the income that each miner gets from the gold they have mined, and then you have probably the richest bunch of seemingly poverty-stricken folk you've ever seen. Number 1, the show is heavily scripted. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Who knew that a reality show like Gold Rush is heavily scripted? Raise your hand if you knew. Now really, this shouldn't come as a surprise to you by now. All reality shows being aired by now are scripted, some just more than others. Apparently Gold Rush is not an exception, and the producers of the show make it a point to keep this a well-guarded secret. Oh yes, ever so well-guarded Gold Rush, you've done the most amazing job of keeping it a secret. However, of course, no secret can be hidden forever. Eventually somebody who worked for the show will come out and spill the beans. In this case, former cast member and miner Jimmy Dorsey gave an interview where he pretty much said that everything you see on the show is scripted and are planned well in advance. This included his eventual departure from the show. He even went on to say that they do reshoots of scenes that the producers don't feel would be good for the show. You know, they should stop calling these shows reality TV because honestly, the only real thing about these shows is how fake they are. And that was our video for today. Thank you for watching Top 11 Surprising Secrets about the Gold Rush, and be sure to hit like if you liked the video and hit share to spread the word to your friends. Also hit the bell icon so you'll be notified every time we upload a new video. And believe me, we upload new and interesting videos all the time. You could say we're a gold mine of it. I hate my jokes. Again, thanks for watching and see you next time.